Hi everyone, today we're going to do lesson 8.1, three-dimensional figures. So our essential question is, how can you draw 3D figures? Your math objective, you will be able to draw the three-dimensional figures and the view of the shapes from the top, side, and front. You'll be able to describe the edge, face, and vertex of a three-dimensional figure. So here are some of our new words that we're going to be talking about in this chapter. So 8.1 lesson, a solid is a three-dimensional figure, 3D figure, that encloses a space. A polyhedron is a solid whose faces are all polygons. So a face is a flat surface of a polyhedron. So we can see shaded in red right here. That is the face. So it's kind of like, we would say like the side of a box, right? That's the face of a polyhedron. An edge is a line segment where two faces intersect. So you can see this blue line right here. This is an edge. So this polyhedron has a lot of edges. One right there, 2, 3, 4. 4 edges that we can see right in the front. Then we would count the other ones. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, if I counted that right. I counted one too many there. So if we look here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it is a little tricky to count on those. So just like I made a mistake, you might make mistakes too. So make sure to check your answers. And then a vertex is a point where 3 or more edges intersect. So it's like the corner of a box or the corner of a polyhedron. That green dot is a vertex. And when they talk about more than one vertex, the plural is vertices. So that is a different word. So when there is more than one vertex, then they're called vertices. So if we would count these vertices, we have 1 right there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this back corner, 8. So there's 8 vertices on that polyhedron. So now it's asking us to do a couple problems. So find the number of faces, edges, and vertices of the solid. The solid has 1 face on the bottom, 1 face on the top, and 4 faces on the sides. So top, bottom, 1, 2, and then 4 sides. 1, 2, and then that back side, 3, 4. And then the faces intersect at 12 different line segments. So, and then the edges intersect at 8 different points. So the solid has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. So you can count the vertices, the points, that's a little bit easier, but the edges, remember, are the points, the line segments in between 2 vertices. So let's look at this one and do the same thing for this one here. So we're going to find the faces, the edges, and the vertices of this purple shape. So if we look at the faces first, we're going to have 1 on that side, 1 on the other side, so 2, 1 on the bottom, 3, and then 4, 5. So there's 5 faces, and then the edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And notice that by drawing right on the shape, it helps make sure you count all of them. And then vertices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that one in the back corner, 6. So 5 faces, 9 edges, and 6 vertices. So here are some more words, and hopefully as we go through the chapter, you'll become more familiar with them. A prism is a polyhedron that has 2 parallel identical bases. So like on the bottom or on the edges. And the lateral faces are parallelograms. So if we look at this one, here's the base, those are identical, and then the lateral faces are a parallelogram. So a pyramid is a polyhedron that has one base, and then the lateral faces are all triangles, okay, because they all meet at that one point. So all 4 lateral faces are triangles. So a triangular prism and a rectangular pyramid, the shape of the base tells the name of the prism or the pyramid. So it's a prism if the bases are equal. It is a pyramid if it's just one base, if it's rectangular. So it says draw a rectangular prism. So you would draw identical rectangular bases, and then you would connect the corresponding vertices with those blue lines. And then you would change any hidden lines to dashed lines. So if you notice on this one, you can actually see they're all solid lines, but ones that you couldn't see if you were looking at the shape, like if a box is just sitting there, you can't see the back edge of it. So you draw it as a dotted line. This says draw a triangular pyramid. Okay, remember this top one was a prism, so those bases are the same. So a triangular base and a point. So it's a pyramid because it's going to have just one base. And then all of the sides are going to be triangles and they connect at the one point. So then you would just draw those lines. But remember, you have to change the ones to dashed lines or dotted ones because you can't see, you wouldn't be able to see those. So another way you can do this is using dot paper can help you draw 3-dimensional figures or solids. So some people like using dot paper. We'll use mostly grid paper, but if you prefer dot paper, you can always look that up and use that. You can also make a jam board with dot paper, and that helps too. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple examples here. This is work with a partner, but we'll do it together on the video here. You should, if you can, get out a piece of paper, and you don't have to have grid paper necessarily because you can draw the little squares. So we're going to draw the front, side, and top views of each stack of cubes, and then find the number of cubes in each stack. Whoops, sorry. If we look, here's the sample one. So if we think about it, the front is red. So if you were looking at it, if you were standing over here looking at this, you would see that the front are these 2 red squares filled in right there, okay? Because that's all you could see. That's how you would draw the front. So it would look like that. If you were at the side looking at the blue, it would look like this. So it would have 2 on the bottom, 1 on top. And then if you were looking down, so if you were hanging over this, looking down this way at this, you would only see these 2 squares, the green ones, and so that's why you draw the top like that. So now we're going to do something. So if we look examples together, so let's do B. We'll do front, side, and top, okay, of shape B. So if we're looking at the red ones, okay, we're going to see 1 shaded in here. I'll highlight that one, and then 1 right next to it. And then this, so that one was that one. And then this one is right above the other one. So it's going to look like this if you were standing right in front of that shape. Now, if you were looking at the side, the blue ones, we would have 1 right here. We would have 1 right next to it. And then we would have 1 above that one. So it would look like that. And then if we were looking at the top, we're looking straight down at this, okay, we would have one right there, that top one. Then we'd have a green one right below that one, right? And then you'd have another green one next to that very top one. Okay. All right, let's do shape or number, let's do D, this last one here. These are pretty tricky. Okay, so again, we're going to be looking at the front, the red ones. So we have two red right next to each other, so that's pretty easy. So we would shade in two squares right next to each other. And on your paper, you can just draw two squares is fine. And then this other red one is going to be right above that one. So it would look like that. It would be the same as the first shape we just did. Now the sides in blue, we have two blues right next to each other. So I'm going to shade in two blues. And then this blue is right above that second one. So shade that in as well. And then greens. So again, if you're looking from the top down, okay, let's do these two. We can see that this green and this green are right on top of each other. So we have green and green. But then this one has another one right next to it. And then look at this one though. This green side is actually right in between there. So you just have a little square. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 that you could see. All right, we're going to go to the next part. So if you think about, here's a real life example, drawing views of a solid. We would draw the front, side, and top views of the eraser. So just like we did with the squares, the front view, if we're looking at the eraser this way, is going to be a parallelogram like this. The side view, if we were looking just right here, is going to be a rectangle. And then if you're looking from the top, again, it's also another rectangle. It's just a bigger rectangle than this one. Okay, so now we're going to draw a solid. So if we have a prism, that means that both bases are the same. So I'm going to do my best to draw two squares. Okay, so I have two squares, and then we would match up all the vertices. This back part you can't see, so I'm just going to draw it dotted right away. That part you can see, and that part you can see. But then I have to go back and I have to change these two to dotted because I can't see back there. So I'm going to have to change those to dotted lines. That one's still a solid because we can see that. But those that back corner, we can't really see. So it's a prism because the bases are the same. So this is a square and this is a square. Now, a pentagonal pyramid is, a pentagon has 5 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have a point. Okay, so if we're looking at it from the front, I can see that line. I can see this line. This one I wouldn't be able to see, so that's dotted. This one I couldn't see, that's dotted, but this front one I can see. And then I would have to change that back one. So I erase that and make this a dotted line back here because I wouldn't be able to see that one. This one I might be able to see, but... All right, now here's another way to do this. So we want to draw the front, side, and top views of the solid. So front, side, and top. So if we look at the front of this, it's a triangle. If we look at the side of this, it is a rectangle. If we look straight down on it, it's just going to be a line. Okay, but we have that top line right there, but you would also see the base around that, so you could also draw a rectangle. Okay, the front, side, and top of this one The front is a triangle. The side is a triangle. And then the top, if you're looking top down, it's actually that square, the rectangle is the base. All right, now you're going to do some of these on your own. If you need to rewatch any part of this video, go back and watch it. Good luck.